Am I the asshole for telling my girlfriend my ex comes first? I know the title sounds bad, but hear me out. I, M37, was with my ex-wife, F36. We will call her Elaine for 15 years. We were high school boyfriend and girlfriend and married after university. We have 3 kids, all boys, 9, 8 and 5. We divorced a few years ago and have remained friendly so we can co-parent our boys as easily as possible. She has remarried and I get along with her new husband who seems to be a good stepdad to my kids. I was single for a while as I focused on my boys and work, but I met my girlfriend, we'll call her Nicole, 27, about 3 months ago. I haven't introduced her yet to my kids, which has been upsetting her, but I have told her that 3 months for me is not a long enough or committed enough relationship to involve my kids yet. I do not want them getting attached, or otherwise uncomfortable until I know for sure that this is the real deal. It was Elaine's birthday last week and I told Nicole I would be doing for her what I always do with our boys and I wouldn't be available until later in the day. Nicole was upset with this as she wanted us to spend the day together, but it wasn't for anything special. Anyways, sorry this is dragging. Anyway, what I do on my ex's birthday is go over in the morning and with our sons I help them make her breakfast. I get some flowers and a nice card and a present from them and then they take it to her and give her breakfast in bed. My sons love doing this for their mom and I always like to hear how happy it all makes them. Nicole was angry I did this as she said it made her feel less important and like she would never come to ever mean as much to me in my life. I replied that Elaine is the mother of my children and that even though we are not in a relationship or in love we have our boys and I want our boys to grow up knowing that I always treated Elaine with respect even though we are no longer together. I do not want them thinking that we never cared about each other. Nicole says she doesn't want me doing this again whilst I am in a relationship with her and that I am the asshole for not putting her feelings first. She said it's obvious I still love Elaine and I won't even give up this one day to put her over Elaine. I told her that I will always have a love for Elaine as we were together a long time and have 3 kids and nothing will ever change that. Nicole said if I do not promise to begin to restrict communication with my ex to make it just about the kids, she doesn't see how I can ever prove to her I care about her. So, Reddit. Am I the asshole for still doing this for my ex on her birthday when I knew it would upset my girlfriend? And #X200B. Edit. Just to clarify, I do not take the breakfast to her in bed, our oldest carries the tray. I just help the boys make the breakfast and they go and present it to their mom. Edit 2. Wow, lots of responses. Thank you for taking the time to read and respond. I have answered some comments but I will add the extra details people need clarifying. Her new husband and I will talk, have coffee, watch TV whilst the kids take the breakfast up. Her husband is the one who will have the boys awake and let me in so the kids and I can make the breakfast. Her husband will generally take Elaine out for dinner or plan something special, so I might end up taking the kids so they can be alone as I understand he is now her husband and I have a diminished role in her life, but not my kids. The tradition started with my oldest when he was little and wanted to do something special for his mom on her birthday, so we have carried it on together as the boys have come along. I do understand in a couple of years they will be old enough to do this themselves and not need my help, but I enjoy spending this time with them to do something nice for their mother. Elaine did not initiate the divorce, I did. The marriage ended amicably as possible as we just grew apart. There was no big fight, no infidelity, we were 2 adults making a decision that we would be happier apart than together. And we are. I was the youngest in a very messy divorce when I was a kid and my parents used to be awful to each other. I did not want that kind of memory lingering for my own kids just because we did decide to divorce. No, it was not Nicole's birthday or a special event, she has not yet had a birthday in our relationship. I had planned to do something special for her birthday, which is in December, if we were still together at that time. As said, our relationship is still very new. I did tell Nicole that Elaine and our kids came first on that day only, Elaine's birthday. This is simply due to the tradition I have with my sons. I can see why she took it out of context, but I didn't mean Elaine comes first always. But I did say my boys always will. Nicole is not mature enough to be in a relationship with a single dad, much less one with a healthy relationship with his baby mama. I know that's not what you want to hear, but it's the truth. At some point you are going to have to accept that this relationship has had an expiration date from the beginning. Not the asshole. Info. Is her husband okay with you continuing this tradition? It seems like the kind of thing the boys could also do with their stepdad. Not the asshole, seems pretty cut and dry. You're not putting your ex first, you are putting raising your sons first. You and your ex are mature people who were able to settle your differences amicably enough, but your new girlfriend sounds petty and immature. She is probably insecure that you're not over your ex, and maybe she has been burned in the past for this. It's probably more common than a married couple mutually splitting after 15 years. But if she's going to issue these ultimatums about you talking to the mother of your children, it seems like she doesn't understand where your priorities are. Probably a good thing you didn't introduce her to your kids. IMHO. You less so, but still. Your girlfriend seems to be putting in a lot of demands for what's pretty early on in the relationship. But bud, it's time to redraw the lines. By going to their house to cook breakfast in bed, including flowers, card, and an additional present, you're not showing your kids that you still respect Elaine. Instead, it seems a lot more like you're not showing respect to her and her new family unit. There are plenty of ways that you can and should continue to show your boys your love and that you respect your co-parent. But anything with even remotely romantic connotations need to come off the table. Maybe next year leave breakfast and flowers to stepdad while you take the boys out the week before to pick out a gift. You misspelled ex-girlfriend. NTA. Good for you for being a positive role model for your sons in how to treat women. You've known this new girl 3 months and she is already making demands like this of you and showing incredibly high insecurities. I think it's time you re-evaluate that relationship. Your girlfriend is clearly jealous and long-term, she will have more and more ridiculous demands. But dude, going over to your ex to make her breakfast in bed for her birthday. No woman will ever accept that. I don't even know how your ex's husband doesn't want to kill you every year. You can show your boys that you respect their mother without doing things like for the next 10 to 15 years. Nah. But I'm curious as to why the new husband is unable to help them make breakfast for their mom. In their home. Info. How close are you with your ex? Is this truly about the kids only or about her? Like someone else said, your kids should come first, not your ex. Is her ask to limit communication with your ex or your children? There's a big difference. As a woman, I'd be uncomfortable with that arrangement. Her new husband is there to make breakfast in bed. That's a bit intimate for an ex to do. Am I the asshole for not funding a vacation for my brother's family and only my cousin's family? Me and my husband are both working professionals with long hours and have 2 kids, 4 and 2. My Sil is child-free and a housemaker and cousin's wife. Chloe is a som with 1 child, 3. During my pregnancy, I was determined to return to work, so I approached both my Sil and Chloe to babysit my kids and offered to pay them for it. My Sil refused, saying they were child-free. I thought I would have to find a daycare, but luckily Chloe agreed but refused pay. So instead, every year I fund a 2-week-long vacation for my cousin and Chloe, and now their child. My brother and Sil did not know about these vacations being funded by me. A few days ago, I got a call from Sil, fuming and angry, crying that I favored my cousin's family over my brother's. She had been talking to Chloe in the phone when she had accidentally mentioned their upcoming trip to Greece with an all-inclusive resort. My cousin had been having some financial troubles, nothing major but just not enough to afford a trip right now, and everyone in the family knew this. On being questioned by Sil, she told her that we funded it and all the other vacations as well. I tried explaining to her that the trip was a thanks for Chloe's help, which led to Sil going ballistic about me discriminating against child-free people. I tried to explain but she kept cutting me off, so I hung up on her. Later my brother called me. I understood he was a bit hurt from his tone but asked my side of the story. I told him. He said he understood but maybe I should apologize to Sil because her mother always pressured her to have children and that a woman's life is unfulfilled without having children, which is complete bullshit. I sympathized with her, so I called her up to apologize for not telling brother and her about funding a vacation for my cousin's family. She said she'll accept the apology if I gift her and brother a 6-month-long world cruise once the COVID pandemic ends fully to make up for all the vacations I didn't fund for them. I was completely taken aback. I said I would think about it. I hung up and looked up the prices and the cheapest ticket was about $50,000 per person. I cannot afford that now or in the foreseeable future. So, I texted her that the best I could do was to send them on a trip to Greece after my cousin comes back from his. Well, she blew up. Spammed me with messages calling me a bitch, asshole, and again accused me of discriminating. What I was surprised by was my mother calling me and telling me I'm being insensitive to my Sil and she is going through a tough phase standing up to her mother. I told her I can't afford a cruise like that and she said, I should cancel my cousin's trip for this year and the next few years and save up for the cruise. I refused and she called me an asshole. I truly can't afford that cruise and these trips are the repayment for Chloe who takes care of 3 kids, 5 days a week. I want to know if I was the asshole for not funding trips for my brother and Sil as well, which has led to the current situation. Update. So, I read all the comments and one thing I am most certain about is Sil ain't getting a vacation funded anytime soon. I discussed the matter at hand with my husband and he made me understand that paying for my Sil and brother's vacation would undermine Chloe's help, and I totally agree. Also, we both called up Chloe and told her if she would accept payment from now on. She refused at first, but as one of the comments said, if I pay her, she'll be able to fund her own vacation. After a lot of insistence from both my husband and I, she finally agreed. I texted my mother saying I couldn't and wouldn't fund a trip for Sil. She tried to argue, but I told her to buy the tickets out of her retirement fund if she cared about Sil's personal issues so much. That pretty much shit her up. I did call my brother a few times but he didn't pick up and my Sil spammed my inbox until the very moment I blocked her. I still feel my brother is being influenced by Sil, but hopefully he'll call me back and we could sort things out. Not the asshole. Your Sil is delusional. You're not doling out trips as gifts, you're paying for daycare. Daycare is hard work. Daycare is expensive. If your Sil wants to start watching your kids to earn her trip, tell her she has more than a few years to catch up on. ETA. For the love of all that's holy, do not give your Sil a dime toward a holiday she did nothing to earn. Not the asshole. Do not fund any trip from your entitled as fuck Sil. Giving a trip as a thank you for watching your kid is not discriminating against her for being child-free. Do not offer paying for vacations for this chick. 1. You owe her nothing. 2. You didn't discriminate against her. Being child-free is the excuse she made for not helping. 3. You are only funding your cousins because it is payment for her assistance. 4. Sil is being manipulative and trying to be the victim in a situation that has nothing to do with her. 4. Tell her and anyone else WHO doesn't agree that you owe her nothing and you will not pay for any of the vacations. The nerve. I am angry on your behalf. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Holy smokes, I wish this was spam. Tell her you'll fund her a trip if she takes over childcare for the next however long, since that is like the payment for the cousin doing it. Honest to goodness, you are not discriminating because she is child-free. She's not getting the trips because she isn't essentially working for you without direct pay for that service. Not the asshole. Oh my goodness, what on earth? You funded your cousin's trips because they were providing free childcare and that was your way of paying them. Do not pay for your Sil to go on holiday. It has nothing to do with them how you spend your money your business. And the cheek of asking for such an expensive trip, that just takes the cake. Shame on your mum as well for telling you to cancel your cousin's trip. Definitely not the asshole, and again, do not pay for them to go on holiday. Not the asshole, you are not gifting your cousin and his wife a trip every year just for the hell of it. You are thanking them for your cousin's wife giving you free childcare. You are not obligated to gift your brother and Sil anything, and I certainly wouldn't do it now. I am not sure why your mom is chiming in here, but if she wants to help Sil through her difficult time, she can gift them a vacation. This all sounds insane to me. What is wrong with these people? Honestly, you are owed several apologies from your brother, your Sil and your mother. I'd cut contact until they apologize. I'm child-free, but hear me out, you're not the asshole. Childcare is crazy expensive, which is one reason I'm child-free in the first place. You're paying them how you can for taking care of your children, and your cousin is an angel for refusing other pay. They must have so much patience with the little ones, lol. Your Sil is acting entitled to something that was earned by your cousin. Your Sil may be child-free, but that doesn't mean we get stuff for free. This isn't discrimination either, because you didn't give the vacations to your cousin's family because she has a kid, but because she performed the service of taking care of yours. Your Sil is expecting lavish vacation gifts for existing, and that is just entitlement. My read. Cleo babysat for months without pay, so you are paying her with a trip. Sil refused to help but demands more than the value of the babysitting she provided. No babysitting equals zero money. Not the asshole. Cleo is a jewel to be cherished. Your sister-in-law is a very big, greedy a. Grammar edit. Am I the asshole for going to my building's management to talk to them about my downstairs neighbors? I, 33F, moved into my current apartment in November of 2020, so less than a year ago. I live with 2 roommates. Both myself and one of my roommates work third shift and the other works from home during the day, so most of the time there is only really one of us walking around at any given time. As I've stated, we've been there less than a year and the people in the apartment below us have come to complain we walked too loud 4 times. 3 times they left rather passive-aggressive post-it notes on our door, and once one of them came up and knocked on the door to speak to us. The guy then went on a 10-minute rant about how they have a newborn baby and work from home and how we need to walk quieter or to wear slippers to help muffle the sound. Personally, I hate wearing anything on my feet if I don't have to, but to keep the peace we agreed we all would and apologized even though we really didn't feel like we were doing anything wrong. But something happened 2 days ago that really drew the line in the sand for me. My 2 roommates were out and I was home alone sleeping because I worked the night before when all of a sudden I hear 2 men speaking in my living room. My roommates are a male and a female, so hearing 2 men kinda freaked me out. Then all of a sudden my bedroom door opens and they're standing in my bedroom doorway as the front desk security guard and the downstairs neighbor. Apparently, according to the neighbor, he had a wet spot forming on his bedroom ceiling, which is directly below my bedroom, and had gone to the front desk to say something. I guess they then called my landlord, who texted me, but because I was sleeping I had my phone on Do Not Disturb. The security guard then tells the neighbor to come in and look around my bedroom to see if they can figure out if the wet spot is coming from there. By this time I'm very confused and frankly pissed off that there are 2 strange men now standing in my bedroom and I have no idea what's going on. The neighbor then proceeds to tell me about the wet spot in his ceiling that he's convinced is coming from my apartment. I was like, I don't know what to tell you, man. I clearly was sleeping and wasn't using any water for anything, but go ahead and look. Which he does and finds nothing. He was so rude about everything. After both men left, I called my landlord and basically explained everything I just typed out. He told me not to worry. But I'm super pissed. Security just let himself and someone else into not only my apartment but also my bedroom. I also feel like I'm being harassed by my downstairs neighbors. I want to go to the building's management about this, but both roomies say it's not worth it. Would I be an asshole if I complained? Small update. Wow everyone, thank you so much for all the great advice and for not thinking I'm crazy for wanting something done about this situation. I just got off the phone with someone from management. She seemed very sympathetic towards the situation and she apologized for something like this happening. She also informed me that on that particular day they were testing the sprinkler system, and wouldn't you know that part of testing the sprinkler system is to flush water through the lines, and it's actually not at all uncommon for some of the water to leak out of the sprinklers. So would anyone like to guess what almost definitely caused the water spot? Honestly, I feel like that is something the security guard should have known. I have made an appointment for myself and my roommates to meet with the whole management team face to face later in the week to further discuss everything. If something like this ever happens again, I absolutely will call the police and file a report. Also, thank you so much for the silver award, totally made my day. The security guard then tells the neighbor to come in and look around my bedroom to see if they can figure out if the wet spot is coming from there. Call the police. The security guard had no right to let anyone else in your apartment. And if there is an emergency and he has to get in, he should be knocking and announcing his presence, and calling people who live there before entering. This is very much illegal and I would not be comfortable living there unless there is some guarantee this will never happen again. Not the asshole. I would have called 911 the second I found out they were in my apartment, and I would have yelled at them at the top of my lungs until they left. Not the asshole. If I heard voices in my flat I would be calling the police. Not the asshole. Get to management now. You have a right to quiet possession of your apartment. A text and a few minutes are not suitable notice. They came in and entered a room you're sleeping in. Not okay. Not the asshole. That a building maintenance problem and not a security problem. There is no reason for the neighbor to enter your apartment. A maintenance professional should have verified the problem downstairs first. Then only that person should have entered your apartment to further investigate if needed. At no point should they have let the neighbor into the apartment. OP should raise all the ruckus needed to let building people know this is inappropriate. That guard needs to know what their job is. Letting anyone with a good story into an apartment is just stupid. Not the asshole. They basically broke into your home without permission and in some cases, states, that could have resulted in deadly consequences for the neighbor and security. Not the asshole. Please look into your local renting laws. Lots of places have to give 24 hours notice for entry. Even if not the case, still highly inappropriate to allow another tenant into your apartment. I'm kind of surprised security would do that. Two strange men in an apartment with no warning sounds like a good way to get shot in some places. Not the asshole and the downstairs neighbor had no business at all in your apartment. Security should have notified a building manager. I think it's worth mentioning. I'd have freaked out to wake up to find two random men in my locked apartment while I was sleeping. Downstairs neighbor needs to calm TF down. Nobody realizes that the whole world is unwilling to change to help you cope with a newborn. Would I be the asshole if I took my car keys away from my wife? For context, my wife and I own 2 cars. However, over the past few months she has exclusively driven just my car whenever it is available. Now, in normal circumstances this would be fine since my car gets better gas mileage, but lately I've been feeling disrespected by the way she treats the car. My car is nothing fancy. It's a simple Ford Fiesta, but it's still a space I like to keep in good condition and she doesn't do that. Whenever she drives it there is new trash added to it. Typically fast food, but occasionally it's other things. She also allows the kids to eat in the back seat, which I am strictly against. If I myself do not clean up after her then the mess will accumulate because she never cleans the car. There's also the fact that she never bothers to fill up the tank or even tell me it's running low. This on occasion has caused me to be late to work because I have to stop to fill up before I can go anywhere. I've talked to her multiple times about this problem and how it makes me feel and nothing has changed. The only solution I can think of at this point would be to take back the copy of the key she has to my car. I feel like doing so would be considered abusive and don't want that. Especially considering she would still have her own vehicle to drive. There's also the difference in money spent on gas, but I'm willing to eat that cost if it means preventing my car from ending up like hers. Which is so filled up with various bits of garbage that you can't see the floorboards or even sit properly in the passenger seat. So, WIBTA? Edit. Did not expect this to get so many replies. I went to work and wasn't able to respond to everything, and since there are a lot of the same questions I feel it would be best to just post it here and hope that those who have asked said questions come back to read it. First, my pronouns are she, her. Not really a big deal, but I felt I should address it going forward. My wife has been diagnosed with ADHD and is currently on medication. A lot of people seem to be going back and forth on whether or not that matters. Personally I think it can affect it, but the medication she's taking should help with it, should it not? I will be doing more research into it as I thought I had an idea of what it entailed just by living with her, but it seems like I was very wrong. We both have co-signed on both cars. So technically there is no, mine, and, her, car. That being said, I primarily pull in the money and foot all the expenses. She also insisted on the car we purchased for her own reasons. My kids are ages 4 and 7. The reason why I don't simply take her car and use it is because her car is trashed and I refuse to clean it for her. Last time I did that as a courtesy and it took me well over an hour and 5 large trash bags. Doing this also feels like I am enabling her in a way. I cannot afford a professional cleaning on a regular basis, nor can I afford to buy a new car. The value of her car would not be worth trading in either. I saw a few comments about how she might be exhausted taking care of the kids and the house etc. The mess with her extends into the house and is its own problem that I have yet to be able to effectively resolve. I am primarily the one who does all the cleaning. We do our own laundry each. And she does the cooking, for the most part. On occasion I will have to do it, but I don't think cooking is hard at all, so it's often just an annoyance because I know that nothing will be reciprocated in the end. Not the asshole, but you need to be honest about what you're doing and why. It's not okay to trash someone else's car, even your spouse's car. It's definitely not okay to use someone's car and leave it empty. Not the asshole, it's reasonable to not want your car treated like a garbage bin. If she doesn't want to respect it, she shouldn't have access to it until she can. Could you clean her car or have her car detailed? Not the asshole. Why is she trashing your car when she has her own? Is something wrong with it? Not the asshole. The car's really just a symptom of deeper issues, cleanliness and respecting boundaries, to name a couple. But in terms of short-term, band-aid, solutions go. Taking her copy of the key might be a reality check for her. I don't know how old your kids are, but my 3Y. Listens if I tell them to pick up their trash and throw it away. Your kids don't have to grow up following her example. Not the asshole. When people don't respect your stuff, you're allowed to take your stuff back. Besides, it's not as though she doesn't have her own, filthy, car to drive. Not the asshole. She has a car to drive. When she uses your car, she trashes it. Take back your key and tell her to drive her own car. Not the asshole. You need to sit down and have a conversation about respect. And how if she cannot respect your space, she cannot use your space. Take those keys up. Not the asshole. She has a car so she can dirty that one up. Taking keys away from a spouse is often seen as an abusive behavior. When it is someone with their own vehicle, it's not, at all, to anyone other than know-it-all Reddit 20-somethings.